Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Moving Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host with great articulation, John Ruby, and this is my co-host.
Hello, I'm Corbin Coyle. Hey, everybody.
Hey, I am super excited for our guest today. This is one of my longest and nearest and dearest friends in Los Angeles. But before we go there, Corbin, not an ad, but a topic of conversation. Corbin, if you were the lead in a TV show, if you were the lead,
Listening.
they're like, Corbin, here's your badge, buddy. You're the man. What state would you want to film it in? State or city, and why? Yeah.
I would say, I mean, all the heavy, New York is like a beautiful place, and I would love to be, housed over there, which would be lovely. But and I think this is going to ring true with our guest, but Hawaii, I mean, you can't go wrong with Hawaii. It's so beautiful there in the water and just waking up and just going to the sand and then going to set. Get out of here. That sounds like the best thing in the whole world.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
What
that
about
a
you?
lot.
I feel like I had to have stolen it. I mean, Hawaii's number one with a bullet.
Hawaii would have been, Hawaii would have been high on my list for sure, for sure. Anytime I see they're doing a new show in Hawaii, I'm like, okay, how do I get cast on that? How do I work on that set? Yeah, that would definitely be high. For some reason, when you said that, I don't know what popped in my brain for some reason. It's like I've never had a huge, like Miami. For some reason, I was like, Miami would be a
cool.
really cool city to do a show in, I think.
Yeah, I've never been, and I've heard good things. I think it's supposed to be very similar, where it's beautiful, sunny, and just
Yeah.
great relaxing time.
But I really think my dream would be to do a show in Milwaukee, man, back home. If I could do a show there, like be back home, be close to my folks and my sister, I think that'd be so lovely. There was a Jeff Goldblum show. I can't remember the name of it. That was there a couple of years ago. Now a couple of years back, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But it didn't last. I don't think it lasted even a season. So not much of an opportunity, but it would be really cool to do a show.
That would be really cool.
in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Yeah.
CSI Milwaukee.
CSI Milwaukee, where you're the main
Somebody
guy.
picked
I
that
like
up.
it. I
Somebody
like
picked
it.
that up. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Here. Okay. I need a basketball and a bag. I'm gonna put the basketball in the bag, and then we're gonna go get this guy. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why it hasn't been picked up yet.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Though a buddy of mine is working on a TV show that's supposed to take place in Wisconsin. I said, if I don't get in for that show, then
You are
I'm
Wisconsin.
done. I am Wisconsin. Okay, let's pivot. Corbin, I know I said it already, but she's one of my most favorite people in the world. She is a casting director and producer and so many other things. The list just goes on and on and on. And my longtime friend, let's welcome Cori-Anne Greenhouse.
Hello.
Hey, Corey.
Hello, hi.
You are calling in from the bat phone from very far away. Where are you calling us from, Corey?
I am calling you from Hilo, Hawaii.
Yes, Corbin.
So pretty. I want to be there.
Write it, Corbin. Write it. Let's do it.
You hit the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So, Corey, any thoughts on where your show would be? What state or city? Why?
I mean, does it have to be in America?
No, it doesn't. I mean,
No.
we kind of did it, but it doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be.
I don't know. Maybe. I guess. Yeah, definitely Hawaii. Obviously, because for the same reasons you picked Milwaukee, so I could stay home.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe I want to say Tokyo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I haven't been to Tokyo
I
yet.
want
good
to. I
one.
was thinking that, or like Emily in Paris, or like Paris would be amazing.
Yeah, Paris is like popped in my brain right away. Yeah, I feel like, yep.
And by the way, I'm only saying that because I want to eat.
That's the
I
thing.
feel like both of
nothing
those
to do with the
places have good
project.
food.
Yeah, where do I want to
don't
be? I want to
care.
be in Italy so I can
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah, I want to be in Italy,
Yeah.
but then you can't go on set with that much carbs in you, right? Like that's got to be against the law at a certain point.
Yeah, unless that's part of the role. Okay, we need you.
We need
at this
someone
set weight.
real heavy. Go.
Yeah, and you're like, great,
Yeah.
I can do it.
I'm
Let me
in.
just keep eating carbs.
And drunk, because here's some wine to go with
Yes,
those
yeah.
carbs.
And it's 10
It's
a.m.
true. It's true. So I just want to let our listeners know there is a beeping at on Corey's end, and that's all right. We can't fix it, so just ignore it. It'll go away after a while. Just want to let people know we are aware of it. We're not professional enough to get rid of it yet. So just there it was. That's all right. Let it be. Corey, I want to go back because you helped make my career in casting. So can we talk about that? The origin
Sure.
story? What do you remember from that back in the day?
I think you came in after me. I think I hired you.
Yes, you did.
I think
You
I
and Bob
brought you.
Brunson. You and Bob
I think
Brunson.
I brought you came over and you were. I think were you working at UDK?
I had interned at UTK and then worked there, and then I think I was done working there at the time. Yeah, I think
Because
I was done.
we seem to have a few people that had interned or worked the desk at UDK that were coming over to the
That's
casting
right.
facility
Rick
to work.
Fetterman had been over
I
there.
think I want to say Alex maybe had been there,
Alex, yep. Keanu, yes,
and
you're
maybe
right.
Alex brought somebody else.
Yep.
I don't know if it was Jeff Pride.
Yep. Jeff might have been. Yeah.
He also had Theo. Remember Theo?
Theo Rossi. Yeah, he was there before.
Theo Rossi.
Yeah, he was there before I was there. But yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and then everybody and you came in and I was like, yeah, okay, you can whatever.
He's fine.
Get this guy out of here.
You're missing so many good details. Okay, so Corey was at the desk with Bob Brunson, who's another good friend, and I came in the back. I was not brought in by anybody. Maybe they mentioned it, but I know because I remember I was like the only person ever hired there that didn't have a referral from someone. Maybe Alex had mentioned it, but like everyone was always
I think when
referred.
you had the UDK on there, we asked Alex about it.
Maybe that's what it was. But
yeah.
I remember, Corey, you guys asked me, you said, "Are you an actor?" Don't you remember this? And I said,
and you know what? He just walked in like into the back of the house, like,
oh, you're not supposed to go.
I'm just, no actors are supposed to come back past a certain point.
No,
and I was there. Strolls in and like comes up to the front desk. And, like, who the hell is this guy? And he's like,
I told you guys, Corey. I guess this is what Bob I think told me. I was interested in production and casting, so that's how I framed it. That's how so it was a little white.
No, you know what that was? Acting.
What?
That was acting.
That was good acting. That was good acting. And then you know what Corey had me do, Corbin? When you first start there, you answer phones, which we did a lot of phone answering, and then you'd send the calls to the different casting directors. And then I would go outside the room and take Polaroids. Coco, remember this?
Oh, wow.
We're taking so many Polaroids of every actor.
I was expert level at Polaroid taking.
Yeah.
I was an expert at Polaroid.
So then we did that, and then I became a session director where I was in.
Yeah, I think you worked as an assistant. I think you worked the door for a little while before you.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yes, everybody works. Every session director works the door first, and then you go and then you start training to be a session director or run. Actually, at that time, it wasn't even called a session director. It's called a camera operator.
Camera operator,
the split.
Which we talked about. Yeah, the split between someone. Yeah, exactly. And I remember, Corey, my first time I had trained for like an hour or two on the camera, and then Pamela Starks had a call back, and the camera operator, session director, didn't show up, and they're like, "We need somebody," and I was like, "I can do it," and I'd only trained for like an hour, so I went in the call back, and like I could, she's shaking her head, and I couldn't get something working, and I was like, "Something wrong with the equipment." It was 100% me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but then I got it working, and the callback went great, and then after that, then it kind of rolled with the session directing. But that was because of you, Coco. You took a chance on a young Midwestern guy
who wasn't an
actor.
You
look like a nice guy. Yeah, who wasn't an actor. Because we're like, yeah, these actors and their effing schedules. And the auditions and I just cannot. But it was almost all. I will say this. At that front desk actually produced a lot of working actors.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Rex Lee came from there.
Yes.
Theo Rossi, who was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
Kyle Hayden worked.
Jay Hayden, Kyle Bornheimer. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of working actors that came from that studio, really. Even Alex isn't working. You know, Alex works a lot. You worked a lot. So there's like a lot of
It was a golden time. It was a golden time.
It really was. It really, really was. And a lot of good working actors got their start at that front desk.
So Corey, because you were kind of like managing all these, like it was kind of like herding cats with us, because it was like there was a bunch of us that Corey.
No, really,
you didn't have to agree with that.
That's shocking.
But you were kind of like managing all of this, and then how did you kind of transition into more of like, because that was kind of more like office management in a sense, to more like the casting side of things. How did that come about? Yeah.
I actually went to interview at UDK.
Are you serious?
And
interesting.
And I didn't get that job. And I didn't get that job, so I came back and I was talking about it, and Jeff Rosenman heard me talking about it, and
Yep.
he was like, "Oh,
Shout out,
I've been
Jeff.
waiting." Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, are you interested in casting?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to get into casting." That's the whole reason I even started working at that job. And he was like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you to be ready."
Wow.
And he
Wow.
immediately scooped me up. And I think within 5 or 6 months, I was like his assistant. I think within 2 or 3 months, I was already splitting my time. And then by 6 months, I was his assistant. And then I think 7 or 8 months, and I was
Yeah. Right.
poached,
Right. Yes.
recommended
Yep.
to another casting director.
Yeah. Is that when
And
you
then I
started
ended
working
up,
with Joe Blake?
that is when I started working for Joe Blake.
My
I
gosh.
started working for Joe Blake when Ocean Park casting was
Yeah.
still under construction.
Oh
It
my
was a
gosh.
pile of dust and wood.
You wear a hard hat just to get in.
Yeah, like I think I went in there and I wasn't supposed to go in there, but I did.
You did.
So
And was Jen there at the time? Was Jen Halligan there?
she wasn't with me on that particular tour, but
Okay.
I think we were working next door at, what was that casting facility next door?
Yeah, yeah. 2601. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's
Yes.
2701 and 2601. Yeah, I forget the name of it.
So we had like a little office at 2601, and then we were, I think we were casting out of 2701 before it was legally open. We were just like we were just holding sessions over there and like sending other actors over there,
Okay,
even if
hold on.
it wasn't
Hold on a
permitted,
second.
probably.
Hey, Sag, I need to call you, but this was like 12 years ago. Just kidding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so then, okay, so you're in the, and then, working there, that was like, I mean, you know, I ran sessions for Joe. I used to run. So then there, Corey and I, we used to work together a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Two
we had a busy office. It was a busy office. What did you learn being in that office with so much going on?
Everything.
Mm.
Everything I needed to know about casting, I learned in that office because he just let you run with it.
Mhm.
Like I learned how to pick, how to schedule. I learned Jen Halligan and I actually beta tested and piloted Casting Frontier.
Mhm.
We were the ones at the front of that, making the tweaks and changes for the casting directors, and suggestions and all of that. I learned how to schedule. I learned how to talk to people about their contracts. I learned about all of the SAG rules,
Yeah.
paperwork, anything and everything. I met tons of producers and directors, and lots of actors, and
Corey, can I
really
just jump in real
establish relationships.
one of the things I think a lot of actors don't have an idea about exactly is just with what you were doing, with all that stuff you're learning. But also, I just want to kind of side note here, when you're prepping a session and you're getting all these submissions, the little thumbnails, right? So this is a great thing for actors to hear about, which is like their headshots. How do you go through that? How do you approach that? Obviously, there's more stuff we can talk about with what you were just talking about, but I just think this is a really like practical thing when you're going through hundreds of headshots and stuff like that. Just because,
Yeah, there's a few things that are important. Like if the breakdown comes out and says, please note if you can tap dance. Please note if you can tap dance. Like actually note it because that's the first thing that we'll look for. Is, oh, this person is a good tap dancer. You know, that's something we look for. A great headshot. You think about it. I am calling through. If I'm looking for a guy that's 25 to 35, and young professional, say, there are probably going to be 5,000 submissions minimum. And if I'm looking at 100 submissions per page, think about how many pages I have to go through.
Yeah.
So the first thing you call through is, are they union or non-union? Depending on the project, you know. And if they're eligible, great. If they're non-union but they've got a good look, that's fine too. You just need to figure out what you're looking for.
Yeah.
A good headshot, super important, because you only have that 1 inch by 1.5 inches to make a good impression.
Well,
So
and also
don't
with
make it
commercials, Corey, you don't have a lot of time, right? I mean, you're not like looking not always looking at their resume, looking at their reel. You're just like, I mean, you don't have the time for that. Not that you might enjoy it,
I
and
don't.
sometimes, but usually you don't. You're just like basing it off, right? Like the thumbnail, which is people
Yeah.
already getting some slots. 'Cause you're like, they're great, and then maybe some
Yeah.
new faces, but
Yeah.
that's based on the headshot, right?
It is. It's totally based on the headshot. So if you spend your money anywhere, it's that. Like
Mhm.
spend your money getting, because I don't care if you take $1 million worth of acting classes. It's not going to matter if you spend only $50 on your headshot and you have a crappy headshot, because I'm never going to see your $1 million worth of training if your $50 didn't work for you. Which is I tell people, because that's what people do. They spend tons of money on acting workshops and acting classes and I don't know, Tisch school and whatever. And then all of a sudden they have a crappy headshot. You're never going to get in the door that way. At least if you're going to spend $1 million on your training, have something good to present first. Have a good first look. And I'm not saying go out and spend like the $1,500, but get somebody who's gonna take a good headshot of you. And the other thing too, I tell people, because they're gonna recommend you to get for you to get hair and makeup, and they go through all your wardrobe changes and all of that, and that's great. But really get to know that person and make sure that that person can bring out, that photographer needs to bring out your personality or know how to bring it out, because if they can't and they can't capture that, then what good is that picture? Because especially with commercial stuff, that your personality is what sells you.
Yep.
In that picture, your personality has to come through in that picture, or else I don't get to see all the acting stuff.
Yeah. What would you say is the difference between like auditions between theatrical and commercials? Like, what are the big key things?
Oh my God. First of all, the amount of dialogue and the length.
Yes.
Like with commercials, you're in and out. With theatrical, we just like, it's a lot of dialogue.
You're there for a while.
And like a lot of scenes, like 2 or 3 scenes where we have to catch to make sure you can do all the emotions, or you can run the gamut of what we need. And I feel like with commercial stuff, they only give you a couple of quick chances. It's like 30-second chances, right? So you do it the way they want it, and you can put your own spin on it or make it your own, and then you're out of there. It's one of those things though, when you audition, you really have to like leave it there.
Yeah.
Don't obsess about, oh, I wish I could have done this, or I should have done that. Just leave it there. Just leave it in the room. It's fine.
Yeah. I find that, Corey, it's interesting where like sometimes I think actors judge themselves so harshly, and like really what they did was like kind of in a, like they think like something, oh, it was amazing or it was terrible, when it's more like kind of in this like middle ground, in a good way, where it's like, oh, we got to feel for who you are and what you are. Don't worry, we got the impression, and if that's right or not, you'll get the call back. But it's not like if you had crushed it, you'd get the call back. And if you so I think that's also something I think that's, I see that more and more, where like kind of where an actor is where they are. Be okay with that. Just make sure you fulfill that, and then let it go.
Sometimes it's not. I mean, I've also seen really asinine stuff where they were like, oh, get the girl in the green dress. And then she comes back and they're like, well, where's the girl in the green dress? And we're like, you just saw her 4 people ago. Oh, well, she wasn't wearing the green dress. So was it the dress that you wanted to call back, or
it was a good dress?
It her? Yeah. Apparently the dress was stunning. But
well, I wear a green dress really well, Corey, so they do like to see me in it.
I mean, I'm sure. I think blue is more your color, but sure. Yeah.
It's
true. It's true.
Actually, do you want to piggyback off that? Dressing for the part. Like, how important is that? What is too far? What is too little? Like, what do you think is a good recommendation?
I guess it depends on what the part is. I think you should at least, to me, you should 50 to 75% dress the part.
Gotcha. I like that.
Because sometimes, and this is not all the time, but sometimes, whatever the creators have in their mind, they can't get past whatever that was. So if they saw a doctor in a white coat and you came in just your regular shirt and tie, in their minds you weren't the doctor because you didn't have the white coat.
That's interesting.
So and even if it's like mechanic, okay, just 50 to 75% look like the mechanic. Don't go out and buy a mechanic jumpsuit. just wear some Dickies and be cool with it. It's fine.
Yeah. But I think about that with Corey, with like when I've done, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but like chef casting. And when someone comes in the chef outfit, for some reason, for me, I'm like,
They're
oh,
a
and they're,
chef.
yeah, and they're good with the knife. You know, they got some knife skills. You're like, oh, and then someone can come in who's maybe just as good, but they're like in a tank top or t-shirt. And it's just, the energy is different, especially in commercial casting. And I think it is,
Yeah.
if you're good at that, you know, there is like, I love that 50 to 75%, 50 to 75%, I think is a really like good, you know, and there's a little discretion in there with that.
Yeah, you
Corey,
don't have to go
yeah.
like 100%, but you know,
Yeah.
50, if you can, that's fine. But 50 to 75% is good because it gives visually, it sets the tone and it gives them an immediate read of who you are and what
Yeah.
or what role you're here for.
Yeah. And do you think, with like special skills, did you like when someone had like a photo or a video? Like, let's say they were a skateboarder. Did you like when they had
Yeah.
like a photo of it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I
especially
used,
with that kind of stuff, like
yeah, especially with,
backflips and
yeah.
parkour and all of that stuff. Yes, if you have a special skills
Yep.
clip on your profile, great.
I totally
Or like
agree.
even links to your stuff, like
Yeah.
even that's great. If you
Yeah.
have a website, put that on there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we do look,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to special skills. We're gonna go look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
remember
what
I had
assistants do. We
I-
will go to the end of the internet to find you and your skill.
It's true, because I remember I had a skateboarding audition at 200 South where there's carpet and they wanted people to do a trick on their skateboard in the session, the first call. And like, it was so hard to get off the carpet. Like even the pros were like, it was like, they're like, we can't, like, it's really hard, you know? So my point is the clips or whatever really helped, because it was like, okay, these people are the real deal, you know, or not. So
They do it because if you don't have that too, or like a lot of times after your audition, I would be sitting there collecting, you know, emails or links or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Of your performance outside.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
helpful to have, but also don't make it on your best day. Because if you can't replicate it, that, with a half twist, you're done.
Wait, Corey, that reminds me. So I had an audition at 200 South. I think it was Mick and Roman, Dowd Roman Casting, and it was for IHOP. And I was a juggler, and I used to juggle when I was a kid. And in the first call, I broke out, you know, the three balls, and I was going behind the back, under the leg. I was killing it. Like I landed all my tricks. I was like, this is awesome. I'm getting a call back. So I got a call back. I'm like, I'm feeling good. I got the three balls. I'm like, this is gonna be amazing. I swear to God, a guy comes up on a unicycle, like juggling like 5 clubs. And I'm like, I'm going home. Like he's on a unicycle juggling 5 clubs. And I'm there with my, you know, 3 little balls that I'm juggling. And like I did under the leg, which I was so proud of. I'm pretty sure I think he booked it. But
Pretty sure he did.
but it's funny you say that. Yeah, on your that was my best day and I still got crushed. When you've been in casting, and I want to just delve a little more into commercial, and then I do want to jump to more theatrical stuff. When you've been in the commercial world, do you appreciate when actors send you thank you notes afterwards, send it to the office, Starbucks? What do you know, because I think one of the things with actors, like, how do I stay on their radar? How do I, if I wanted to get, when you write Lakes, how do I get on Corey's radar, Jen's radar? I think that's a challenging thing. You know, we used to have the,
You know
we used to have the
what's so
headshot drop
funny?
off at 200 South. We used to have the
Yes.
headshot drop
Oh
off.
man, that was way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, do we appreciate it? Of course we do.
Yeah.
I used to have a box at my house, and it was a big box, and it was just thank you notes that were written to me from actors. When I moved to Hawaii, that's when I finally got rid of it. But it was like a huge box, and I just loved it because it was, you know, it was like, man, when those days when you go home and your spirit is crushed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you just under the weight. It's like a Friday, and you know you got to wake up at 6 o'clock to fix a link on Saturday morning because some producer's having some meeting on New York time, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry today. Like, and you like pull something out of the box, and you're like, oh nope, I'm appreciated. You throw it back in, and you're like, okay. But do we remember? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we love the Starbucks? Yes.
Remember Starbucks.
Do we love the gifts? Of course we do. And we do, you know, we sometimes actually even send thank you notes back, or, you know, the cool thing about that is if you do drop it off yourself, you get a little bit of FaceTime with us if we're around.
Yep.
And it really is more important to make FaceTime, or it's just as important, I should say, not more important. I would say it's just as important to make some FaceTime with the assistants as it is with the casting director themselves. But really, how you stay on our radar is getting callbacks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I used to say this when I would guest speak, even like at Ruby stuff, I would say this: if we have 5,000 guys that get submitted for that 25 to 35-year-old, young professional, out of those 5,000 people, let's say it was a particularly rough casting, we have 80 people that we brought in. Out of those 80 people, 20 get a callback. Out of those 20 people, 2 people get put on a veil, 1 person books. The odds are against you, but the 20 people that got a callback, you know how often your name comes up in emails and scheduling and checking and double checking, and how many times we look at your name attached to that commercial? Tons. And when you go on a veil, we're looking at your name even more. So we're gonna remember you. Like the next time it comes up, oh, remember that that Corbin got a callback for that same director the last time. Let's get him back in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the stuff even the directors remember that. So the directors, producers, they're like, oh, remember that guy we really liked? He was put on a veil, but we didn't book him. Let's see if we can get him back in for this next thing.
Yeah.
That's how you get remembered. You get remembered for being good.
Mm-hmm.
Do we love being appreciated? Of course.
Yeah.
I love that. You get remembered for being good or great. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get remembered for your work.
It's also
and that's what you want to be remembered for, right? That's what actors are in it for.
Yeah. Yep. It's also why whenever I walk by like a casting office or a casting room, I'll open the door just a crack and be like, John Ruby. And then I close it just to get that name out there. You know what I mean? So I recommend actors
He also does that in offices. He also does that to the offices.
Does it at Starbucks. He does it everywhere, really.
Yeah.
John Ruby.
He's going to have his own Starbucks card printed with his name on it. Actually, that's a good idea for Starbucks.
Oh my gosh.
Starbucks should start making personalized gift cards that you can order online.
Corey.
Starbucks.
We're cutting this out.
Cori-Anne Greenhouse.
We're cutting this out because this is genius idea.
It's gold.
This is gold. This is gold.
Can I get free Starbucks for life?
For life. You can. I've got that power.
Yeah.
And a 5% shareholder.
So Corey, you helped me out with my very first short film I did called Endgame. Where
tell them what I did though.
What did you do?
Tell them what my job was.
Craft services?
That's right.
In my mind, you were a producer. But here's the amazing thing about Corey. So I wrote it, I produced it, I directed it, I paid for it. It was so much. It was over 2 weekends. It was 4 days of shooting, which is a lot of people that have done that.
In like Santa Clarita,
which is it's outside of LA.
And
Corey was there. Yeah, it was hot. Corey was there the whole time. And by like the end of the fourth, day, it was like the money was running out. We were running out of food. And then I'll never forget this. Corey, what did you create? Corey created magic in the kitchen.
I'm gonna bring that up.
This was like magical. It was like the crew was like, everyone was done.
No money.
We had
no money. I don't even know if you paid for it or if I might have even paid for it at the end, but it was we had Panda Express for lunch. Yeah, I'm sorry. We were running into overtime in somebody's house.
Yep. And that guy wanted us out. He was like, get out. He was a friend of a friend. He's like, get out. You've been shooting here too long.
And then I was like, can I use your stove? And we went out. I don't even think I shopped for it. I think somebody went out and bought it. But I was like, go get me some tortillas and a bunch of cheese. And I used his cooktop and made Panda Express quesadillas for the
and we're
crew.
amazing.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh my god.
It was so good, Corbin, but she like totally repurposed it and it was like a new meal. I was like, these are amazing. Where are these from? I was like the Panda Express from earlier. No one had any idea because Corey crushed it.
Yeah, and then we were some vegetarians set,
Yeah.
and we had like vegetables and like vegetarian meal or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, were you the vegetarian?" I would go into the vegetarian container, like put out the veg, and like they were just standing in line, and I was just
Yeah.
pumping out quesadillas made from whatever I think you ate for lunch.
It was
Mushroom
amazing.
chicken, great. Here's a mushroom chicken quesadilla.
Fajitas now.
Yeah.
There was so much resourcefulness on this, and that's why I tell people, do a project, do your own project, because like, so Corey was doing that, and then my friend Deanne, who I kind of like, I could say hired, but just like I was probably paying her nothing, helped me set decorate, which is we went to Cost Plus World Market. I went with her. We bought all this stuff, and then when the shoot was done to decorate this house, and the house was so well decorated, when this guy's kids came in, they were like, "Dad, you should leave it this way. This looks way better." And he's like, "Put it back the way it was." So we put it all back. And then Deanna and I returned all this stuff, like thousands of dollars worth of stuff, because I couldn't afford to keep it. We returned it. And then my friend Tim Misko was there helping out, and Sean Sharma was there on set the whole time. And it was a team effort, but you really learn a lot. And was one of our first projects. And I just bring it up because then Corey also helped me on my very first independent feature film when I did Solver, streaming on Amazon. And Corey helped me out with casting on that, and then came to New York and was a producer on that. And you
I
remember
got my DGA card.
and she got her DGA card. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And she slept on a
As a
couch.
second AD.
She slept on a couch, which she's willing to. I mean, this is why I love Corey. Is like, I was like, we rented this huge house. She's like, "I'll sleep on the couch." I'm like, "Corey, here's a bed." She's like, "No, I'll sleep on the couch." So
The
like,
couch was awesome. Like, I do not remember one single bad thing about that couch, and I think
my
I slept
God.
on it for like 2 nights.
Oh my God, that's why
I
Corey's the
remember
best.
also the mouse. Remember the mouse in the kitchen?
Oh God, I don't remember that, but I believe you.
We had a mouse
But-
in the kitchen.
Okay, but wait, I want to get to casting. And one of the interesting things about casting Solver is, and Corey, jump in here too. We had someone we really liked who we offered, remember, the lead role to, and she wanted more money. Do you remember this? And so then we had to do another round of casting, and we were kind of still stuck on the first actress a bit. You remember that? You know, we were kind of still like, oh, she's the one we really wanted. And then Carrie Canupi came in and kind of blew us away. I mean, and especially her reel, which was really varied in her different looks.
She not only looked different, but she also had a lot of, I don't know, she really chameleons into the role, whatever she does.
Yes.
She's really good.
Yes. So I thought her audition was really good, but then we watched her reel and I was like, oh man, she looks so different in each of these clips. Like you said, like a chameleon. And I thought she was just like perfect for that part. But my point is, it was interesting too, kind of, you know, with Corey, you know, running the casting process, but going through that and finding like, you know, trying to find people, you know, we're trying to find the right person, and sometimes you get close, sometimes you don't. What do you remember about the casting process of that, Corey?
I remember that particular role being brutal. Some of the other roles, like when Desiree came in, that was like one and done. As soon as she came in and walked out, we're like, she's the one.
Yeah, we knew right away. Yep.
Yeah. Like, and even if there were other girls that were good, she was the best at what we were looking for. And she was cool, she was confident, and she could turn that villain on really quick. With Carrie's role, I just felt like we were up against it. Like, I think we just kept going and going and going. And then as soon as Carrie came in, it was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of what we're looking for. You know, she's pretty. She's got a little bit of a Julia Roberts vibe to her. But she's also definitely like that girl next door that she had to hit a lot of different things in order to book that role.
Yep.
And she also had to be believable as a person who was going to be working at a mechanic shop. And she actually, I think it was once she booked it, she went down to her own mechanic and hung out there for like a day or two.
Wow.
To study and to get prepared for the role. So she kind of knew what to touch, what to do, what would a real mechanic do. And she like did her homework, and I love that about her.
Yep.
But that particular role was rough. I think we were at like 3 or 4 different studios at some point.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just trying to find anybody who would let us use a room we were getting recommendations.
Yep.
I think I don't even know. I remember we also auditioned like girls that were guest models for it. Like that girl would never. That girl's probably in high heels in the
That was
mechanic
who I
shop.
voted for.
No.
I thought she'd be perfect. I was like, this guest model, she could do this
That's the
role.
one.
And
Yeah.
Corey said, no,
Yeah.
it's not going to work, even though she was a sweetheart.
She was very kind and very
Yes.
nice, but she
Yeah.
was like,
She would have stood out in a small town. You'd be like, we
yeah,
recognize her. We
she's
know.
not she was not believable as this character.
Corey, what advice do you give? Well, first of all, when you were saying that, I was just thinking that part of what actors need to remember is they are helping solve a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are helping
Yeah.
when they're good. They're helping. Casting has a role they need to fill it with somebody. So I think it's a good thing to remember that like casting is, on your side. I know people have heard it, but you just want to hear it again and again. They want you to be great. They want you to be the
We
solution.
do. We're in your corner all the
Yeah.
time because, well, for multiple reasons, but we want you to be successful.
Yeah.
Most casting directors or most people in casting love actors.
Yep.
Because we're fighting for you. We're negotiating for you. We are advocating for you in every sense of the word. And we want you to be successful. Like I tell people that I see in commercial casting that book series regulars, I tell them, I hope I never see you again.
Mm.
And they're like, why? And I was like, because that means you've become so successful that you don't need to be here anymore.
Mm.
That's what I want. I want for you to go be a series regular and stay there and go up from there. Don't come back.
Yeah, Corey did that.
And
she's like
does.
fly. She's like fly, little bird. And then I
Get
circled
out of
right
here.
back around and I just said,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna nuzzle it right here. I'm back.
It's so
I'm
nice.
back.
I found my
I'm not
nest.
going
I found my
anywhere. I
nest.
found my nest. I'm back. You can't get rid of me no matter what.
Yeah,
Corey,
but
but do you
like,
have any-
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely like that aspect to it. But listen, the reality of it too is that once we've booked that role, we can move on to the next 5 roles that
Mhm.
we're also trying to fill, or or this other role that the writer just decided to write this person in. No, that's not a role. Oh, no, I just wrote it and we need to cast it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so so it's like checking off a box for us. Once we book you, we've checked off a box. We've moved on. We can actually, were you the last role? Great, we're gonna move on to our next project.
Mm-hmm. How would you
let's
just
close.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, how would you describe your like as a casting director, like your day to day in the sense of like dealing with the client and like managing the director, like doing all these? You're getting pulled in so many directions. So like, how do you?
You have to, you just have to be a massive multitasker.
Mhm.
You have to almost have files in your brain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me take out the Burger King file. Okay, it was which director, which producer, what part of what, and what part of the process are we in? Who did they like? What do they need? What kind of dietary restrictions does this director have? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Like everything is in that file in your brain,
That's impressive.
and it has to stay there.
You were doing that with Solver too right now, and I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
how are you? Like, I forget what I had for lunch, like that's that's amazing.
Corey doesn't. She remembers. She remembers. It's in
It
there.
was Starbucks.
Yeah, it was the Starbucks. It was
Corey-
she's Carrie and I have gone out to lunch a few times
Yeah,
after post Solver.
post solver.
Nice.
Corey, what advice would you have for people that want to, make a short or make a feature, whether it's, the casting side or not? Because I know you've done casting, producing, but what advice would you give people when they're first starting? Let's say they haven't done it before.
Save up all your money,
Yes.
and with that money, get the best people you can afford.
Yeah.
Get the best people you can afford. Obviously, you're going to cut corners wherever you can. But just surround yourself with really good people.
Yeah, that's
with
what I wrote. I just
trustworthy,
wrote that
reliable
down.
people.
I wrote down team. What's the
Yeah,
team?
that's the most important. The team is the most important thing. You think it's the actors, but it's actually the team.
Yep. Yep.
Because if the actors can show up, but if the team doesn't, you're done.
Yep.
I had a producer that I worked with on another show, and he was supposed to be sort of my assistant, but also my right hand. And he would always just show up to set a little bit late, like right after call time. And I was like, no, you were supposed to be here half an hour before call time to get Crafty down to the set and all the sides. No? Okay, great, I'll do it.
Yeah. I think about that, Corey, with even with Endgame. I always thought about that because half the crew was friends who were not getting paid, including Corey. The other half was some people I hired. And I knew after the first weekend, because we shot over 2 weekends to save money on rentals, I knew who I would love to bring back again and who I wouldn't. And sometimes that was people that were working for free, and sometimes it was people that I was paying. And sometimes, the people I wouldn't work with again were people I were paying. I mean, you'd think, oh, you're getting paid, but that's not the case. And so I think with what you're saying, Corey, you see that quickly, of who you want to
Yes.
work with again,
Yes.
who's on that
And
team.
you try to take that team with you, or you try
If you
to,
can.
like you and I worked on that together. And then on your next project, you brought me back in a
Yep.
different role, but you brought me
Yep.
back to work on that again. And it's like, okay, great. This is my team.
Yeah, well, there was no Panda
this is
Express
what it
nearby.
takes.
There was no Panda Express. Otherwise, we would have been making those. But yes, no, 100%. I did, yes.
That was rough. That actually, yeah. And I didn't think about Santa Clarita being also remote a little bit, but yeah. It seems that at some point I fell into like the niche of producing shows that were shot out in the middle of nowhere, with very little resources nearby and very little money. But here you go.
Make it amazing.
Yeah.
Make it amazing.
Yeah.
I actually random, but
It's just, yeah.
sorry, random. I just want to
No,
know, like,
go ahead.
what's the most creative, fun thing you've cooked? Like, I feel like you have a
It is
long
that.
list.
It is that Panda Express.
It is that?
Panda
Yeah.
Express
Okay, I was
is-
hoping.
it
Yeah.
is-
Because you have a bit
it
of
is
a.
Panda.
Corey is an amazing cook. That's another one of her
That's what I
talents.
was gonna say. Yeah.
On my birthday at 200 South, she used to make me a pumpkin crunch cake, which was like, I almost married Corey for that pumpkin crunch cake. Like I was
believe
that
you
close.
proposed. Actually,
I think I did propose.
You proposed.
I took a bite,
over
closed
the
my
cake.
eyes,
Wow.
I've had that twice. Literally twice. Once was Corey's pumpkin crunch cake, and then once in Italy when I had pizza at the Eat Pray Love place, I took a bite out of that, and I was like, whoever made this pizza, I will marry. So it's only twice.
Corey back there making this.
It was Corey. It was Corey making the
Yeah.
pizza. Corey.
It's always the food. It's always the food.
It's always the food. It's always the food. Well, cool. Well, Corbin, I think it's time for our favorite section, which is
Your best bad acting.
So
Here we go.
this is where we get to turn the tables on you, Corey, and we're gonna send you a fun quote. We gave you an easy one because we know your background's not in acting, and it's from a movie from a while ago, and it's really fun and simple. And you can put a little spin on it. You can give it a voice. You can do it normal. We might give you a redirect, but just to have a little fun with it. The idea is not to try to do it. Just have fun with it
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
So I could do it however I want. Is that
Yes.
what you
However you
Yes.
want. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever's fun for you.
Okay. Keep in mind I'm from Hawaii. Like I was born and raised here. So I am speaking in English now,
Yeah. Yes.
but I normally talk in Pidgin.
Oh, pigeon.
So it might go a little Lilo and Stitch on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is somebody gonna
Oh,
give
yeah,
me
yeah.
the go?
Yeah,
He put it in the chat.
I saw the chat, but I didn't hear the action.
No action.
Oh,
Yeah.
and action.
E.T. Phone home.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god.
Oh, I like that choice. Okay, I want to do one, Corey. It's a secret. It's a secret.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you say keep the same line, but give it the intention of it's a secret. So, and action. Wow.
Ooh,
I don't even know if our
ooh.
monitors picked
Yeah,
that up.
that
It was
was
so quiet.
so
So
quiet.
good. So good.
I want to
Corbin?
new
How about
spin.
this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
phone
good. Now
home.
I got it.
I want to see like Valley Girl. I want to see full on California.
Oh, yeah, bring that back.
Oh my god, like E.T. You should totally phone home.
Oh, the improv.
That is
Corey.
it. Oh my gosh. Well, Corey, this has been amazing. I mean, we could just chat for hours and hours, which we
Honestly,
have
we
and
could.
which we will. But it's so good seeing your lovely face. I'm really sad you're so
Good to
far
see
away in Hawaii, but it gives me and
Well-
Corbin an excuse to do an episode of the Moving Spotlight in Hawaii.
Yes.
I should. I think you guys should make your way over.
We should come out. We should do the Moving Spotlight conference there.
Also, Corbin, start writing a film here.
Hawaii 5-0 again. Part 2.
Again.
No, do like
Some nerdy tech
Do
guy
like
in
a
Hawaii.
do like a hacker, but in Hawaii. But like also you
Yeah.
bust some kind of drug ring here.
Yeah, and then you fall in love with a woman who speaks pigeon. You're right. Is that pidgin? Did I say it right?
But you don't, and she eats a lot of spam. Don't forget about
She
don't
loves
But
forget
you
about-
hate spam, but you hate. I mean, this is gold. I kind of like your personalized Starbucks gift card idea better, Corey. But we can work with this.
Yeah.
We can work.
Well,
we
is
got to
this-
work. with
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Is this better than the Milwaukee version of CSI Miami?
No, they're all dumpster fire.
Yeah.
These are all dumpster
No,
fire.
yeah.
These are all dumpster
They should
fire.
have just done CSI Hawaii, bra.
That's hilarious.
Like, that's really what it should have been. I'm gonna write that.
Yeah.
Let's
Ruby,
do
we
that.
should
Yes.
revisit our writing project. By the way.
Yes, we should. We should. We've got a lot. We got some unfinished business, as they say. All right. Well, Corey, we're not going to keep you any longer. This was so great. I think you're lovely. Can people keep in contact with you anyway, like social media or anything? Or is that
Yeah,
not
I'm
your
on
thing?
I'm not on Facebook that much, but I'm
Yep.
on Instagram.
Okay.
Actually, I've been off of Instagram for a few months, but I'm
Little
coming
bit of time.
back.
Okay. Okay. Just because you're such a lovely person. Corey's amazing. She's great. Well, Corey, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
and-
guys for having me.
Yeah.
All right. I
thanks.
love you. You're the best. We'll talk soon. Bye, Corey.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Moving Spotlight podcast. I had such a great time. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. This is the first time we've let someone else do our outro.
Yes.
Corey, you crushed it. And thank you. And everyone, please check out. We got a TikTok page. It's up. It's running. We got videos on there. We might have some live animals on there soon, right? Right,
Yes, we
Corbin?
will. Yeah, Kona
Yes,
might make
we
an
will.
appearance. I don't know.
Keep an eye out for Kona, which is Corey's dog. Yeah, this was another great episode. Check out some of our previous episodes if you want. We mentioned some people on here that, also in the casting world. And have a great one. See you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the
Moving Spotlight Podcast.